Or what I expected. I'm like, oh,
it's amazing. Not loving it, not hating it. So far through to the Hello, I'm starting this video at the end. I've just finished the video, but I have to give you a little intro into what you're about to see. First of all, I'm currently sick. That's why I sound like this. I was not sick at the start of the video, then I get sick. And now I'm sick again because we're at the end. But if that's confusing for continuity, don't worry, you'll figure it out. We're going back in time in a minute, but I did want to intro you into what you can expect to see in this video. I was just excited about some books, and so I wanted to vlog them, and I made it into a little like new releases, a reading vlog. I'm gonna be reading 3 books in this video. I will be reading Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle, What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall, and Looking Glass Sound by Katrina Ward. This is a longer and chattier reading vlog than I usually do. There's a lot in it. I get a little rambly at times, so if you want to just settle in and get a drink, get a snack, put it on in the background. It is a little bit more rambly with some lifestyle stuff sprinkled in than I usually do. If you're one of the people who asks for that, I hope you enjoy. And if you don't enjoy that, the video is going to be time-stamped and chaptered out, so you can always skip over those parts if you want, or just put me on a 2x speed if you haven't done that yet. But anyway, I am yet again being rambly, which will be a sign of what is to come in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and just send you back on in time to when I was kicking off this reading vlog. It was the 24-hour horror-a-thon, and I was reading Camp Damascus. I am 60% of the way through Camp Damascus. I'm currently still in my reading sprints right now, and I realized I was getting really far in the book and I wanted to vlog about it, and I haven't told you anything yet. So let me tell you about it. In general, it's nothing like what I expected it to be, so that has been kind of weird for me to try to figure out if I like it or not, because I'm like, whoa, this is just like not what I thought this book was going to be. In terms of like plot and pacing, I explained it on sprints. I will put that clip in here. I got to 46% of the way through Camp Damascus, so I'm just about halfway through. I feel like it's one of those books where I'm gonna have to see where it ends and how it goes. It's just not at all what I was expecting, which is fine, but I just thought it was going to be paced very differently. I was looking back at the synopsis on Goodreads, and I don't know if there's a longer synopsis. So I assumed the story was going to be taking place at a gay conversion camp, but that's not what's happening. I've just been figuring out if I like it because it's just so different from what I expected. I'm like, oh, the pacing is just not what I really thought it would be. But I mean, I think I like the concept and where it's going. Thematically, I like it. So we'll see how the second half goes. But so far it's feeling like a 3-star, at least for me. And hopefully it gets even a little bit better. So everything's fine. I like the main character. I like the concept of religious deconstruction and reclaiming repressed identity. Like, I enjoy all of these themes, but the book in itself just isn't really like doing a lot for me. It's really feeling like a 3-star still to this point. And I don't know, I'm interested to see how it's going to end this last 40%. Our main character has just finally met an ally, I think. They could also be dangerous, I don't know, but hopefully meeting someone who can help her will move the plot along in a different way. I don't know. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's just not what I was expecting at all. morning. It is now the next day and I have a lot to tell you about. I did finish Camp Damascus yesterday. I finished it in the early morning, afternoon to wrap up the 24-hour horror-a-thon. I didn't end up reading anymore during the day. So I only read one book this time. Sometimes I read more than one, sometimes I just read one. It's really just about reading whatever you want to read. No pressure to read a ton. Anyway, Camp Damascus, let me tell you about it. It did end up being a 3-star read for me. I like what this book was doing. I think it was unique and fun. And I do like stories about deconstruction. I just personally tend to enjoy more nuanced stories, more subtle stories, more metaphorical stories. This one was very much not that, and it was not trying to be. It was over the top, it was straightforward, it was exaggerated, it was just very, very in your face, which is fine. I just personally usually prefer something more like nuanced and subtle on any kind of take about anything, really. But yeah, in general, I liked it. I don't think I'm going to be exploring other books by Chuck Tingle at this time based on the books that he does have available being entirely different from this one. But maybe if he writes more in the future, maybe I'll keep an eye out for his books. Then to wrap up talk about the 24-hour horror-a-thon, we watched His House as the buddy watch, and I've actually seen this movie before. It was between this or a movie Cam. Usually there's a theme for the 24-hour horror-a-thon where I pick like vampires or grief horror. I don't know, like we'll usually have a theme, and the books that we vote between and the movies that we vote between all have that same theme. This time around, I almost didn't do the 24-hour horror-a-thon because I usually do it the last Friday of the month, and the last Friday of this month is my birthday weekend, and I just knew I was going to be busy and have plans, but I just decided to push it up and I did do it. So anyway, it was kind of like a last minute planned 24-hour horror-a-thon, so I didn't imbue it with a theme. It was just kind of like, here's some books to choose between, here's some movies to choose between, let's have a good time. So His House I have seen before, but I just have a horrible memory with movies and books. Like I watch things, I read things, and I don't remember things about them if it's been more than, a year or two. And so it was kind of like watching it for the first time, but once we were about halfway through the movie, I did remember how it was going to go, and I actually enjoyed it quite a bit more on a rewatch. It's about this married couple who had to escape from their home country. I think they're living in Sudan, and they have a really hard journey getting to America, but when they get here, they're living at this like refugee camp, and they get this asylum in this home, and it's like a really big home that they end up getting to be in. They just have to stay there for, an indeterminate amount of time. The people are going to be checking up on them, but it's like they kind of get like an opportunity to start over. But there's like these creepy creatures who have been haunting them in the house, specifically an Apeth, which is a particular kind of demon-like creature, and they have to work through that together. And it just is a really good example of a nuanced take on a topic, because there's the surface level story of what's going on, but then there is the inner story of what's going on and all the things that they're dealing with and how their trauma and their grief is manifesting. And it also shows two very different experiences of people's transition to another country, because the husband and the wife have very different experiences that they're going through. And then there is a surprise in the story, and it's just like, oh my god, it's really heavy, really good, really well executed, visually stunning. Everything about it is really, really good. It's like a mix of psychological horror and supernatural horror, and it was just really, really good. So that was a pretty successful 24-hour horror-a-thon. Usually I like the books a little bit more, but this one I still liked. It was a 3-star. But if you missed it and you're hoping to join next time, we do this every other month, so we will be back in October. You can look out for an announcement around like end of September when I will be announcing October dates and putting out voting for the buddy read and the buddy watch. It's always voting based. I think maybe one time I just pre-selected, but like every time I throw out a couple book options, I throw out a couple movie options, and you pick what we're gonna do. And the whole point was just go from 8 p.m. on Friday to 8 p.m. on Saturday, and we watch the movie at 8 p.m. right when it ends, and you just read whatever you want. You chat with people in the Discord. It is a ton of fun. I really enjoyed the community that we've built over there, and yeah, would recommend that you join. So links always down below in my description for the Discord, the Instagram. It was a ton of fun. The other thing that I did yesterday was I finally listened to the full new Hozier album, Unearth. He's been releasing singles for the past, 2 months or so, and then the full album dropped on the 18th, which was last Friday, and so I was only one day late. It felt like I was like waiting a long time to listen to it. I listened to it one day after it came out. Anyway, I finally listened to the full thing, and oh my god, it's so good. I have been a huge Hozier fan for years. I first stumbled upon him when it was 2015, and a couple of my friends were going to see him, and this was like Take Me to Church had come out this year, but it was before he like fully blown up, so like I kind of had like heard that song, but I didn't know much about about him, and they had an extra ticket. So I was like, yeah, I'll go. We went to this like small little venue and we watched him play, and George Ezra opened for him, which was super cool. And I was mesmerized because it was just like this small little club, and I was just so close to Hosier, and he is just, I mean, absolutely incredible. Definitely one of my favorite artists. I feel like he's gonna be my favorite artist of all time for my entire life. Like, I just love his lyricism. I love his vocals. I love sonically how his music comes together. It is just amazing. Like, Taylor Swift's my favorite performer. Hosier's my favorite artist. So anyway, since then, I've gone and seen him every single time he's been in concert since then. And I've like traveled to different places to see him. I went over to Seattle one time to see him, which was really fun because then it became like a whole trip. And this year I'm going to see him in October, and I'm so excited about it. And I am so glad the album's finally out so I can listen to the whole thing and get ready for the concert. So I did that yesterday and it was excellent as I expected. It's a no skip album. He is perfection. I don't know what my favorite tracks are yet because I'm a little biased because there's like a couple that I've listened to on repeat for the past couple of weeks since they've been out. Like Francesca, I'm obsessed with. Unearth, I'm obsessed with. DeSelby Part 2, which is the most recent single that came out, I'm obsessed with. Like, I love them all. Every time he comes out with a song, I'm like, how is this also so good? Why are they all so good all the time? And the full album together was just, it was amazing. I love it. So that was a really great time. It was a really great day yesterday. I've had a very nice, calm, relaxing weekend, which is great. So yeah, that is a catch up on all the things that have happened. I am now going to be getting into and really getting back into What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. I started this a couple of days ago, like on Wednesday, I think. And then the read-a-thon started on Friday, so I just set it down. So I'm only 20 pages into it. So really, I'm just basically like really starting this today. But this is a book that I was not super interested in for a while in the beginning because I've heard some like back and forth things on Kate Alice Marshall. I feel like people don't tend to love her books. And then based on the synopsis of this one, I felt like I knew exactly where the book was going to go. But then I started listening to reviews of it and it's getting really good reviews. And you know, to be really honest, I just think it's gonna be in the Goodreads Choice Awards. And I'm planning in September to do my video again that I did last year where I predict the Goodreads Choice Awards. So I'd like to have read, you know, a good amount of books. I think I'm gonna do the thriller, mystery, and the horror categories this year. So anyways, I wanted to read the book to see what the hype is all about because I'm also probably, maybe, I don't know. It depends on like what actually wins the Goodreads Choice Awards to see if I'm actually going to try to read a full category, whether that is the mystery, thriller, or the horror, or both. Or if I do a video where I just do it like I did last year, where I read like the most popular books out of multiple categories that I'm actually interested in, which was a more fun way to do it because I was then like curating books I was actually interested in. So TBD, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do a combination of some of those things and put out multiple videos. I don't really know. It's gonna depend on how many books I'm actually interested in because I have a feeling the horror category this year is gonna be a lot of books that I'm not interested in because I've been already pre-planning ahead on my predictions for that. And I see all these books and I'm like, I feel like this is gonna be in there and this is gonna be in there. I'm not interested in this. I'm not interested in this. So I don't know. We're gonna have to see for that. So anyways, I'm gonna be starting What Lies in the Woods. In case you did not know, this is a book about these women who were all friends when they were teenagers and something happened. They were 11 years old and they were in the woods and they were attacked and they sent the killer to prison. And then the little blurb says, but they were liars. And that's all you really know. And now it's decades later and they're coming back together for some reason and they're starting to like piece together what happened in their past. So I'm going to be reading more of this. I'll let you know if it's going the direction I think it's going or if it does end up surprising me. In the first 20 pages, I will say I didn't love the writing style very much, but maybe it'll get better. So I'm going to read this, get on with my day. Don't know what plans I have today. We'll just kind of be a free-for-all. And I will let you know what I think about it as I read a good chunk of it. I just finished my workout, so pardon the sweatiness. I have been using the Alive app, which is an app created by Whitney Simmons. She is a TikToker. I don't know everything about her, but I've recently been watching her TikToks in the last couple of months, and she just inspired me to work out and to do strength training, which is something that I've just never done a lot of. Like, I grew up a gymnast, but I was never one to like go in the weight room. I was always like doing gymnastics, which is like a full body workout all the time. And then when I went into college, I cheered for a year, and then I got over cheering. I cheered in high school too. Then I cheered in college for a year. Then I stopped doing that. And then I got into like Pilates and bar and HIIT, that type of stuff. I've never been like a lifting weights kind of girl. And Whitney just made it really accessible to me. She influenced me. She's great. And so I use her app now, the Alive app, and I've been doing workouts. But anyway, that's not what I came here to tell you. I just got a package from my lovely friend, Hannah. Thank you so much for sending me this. She sent me Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez for a birthday gift, which is so, so sweet. My birthday is coming up in a couple of days now, and I keep forgetting about it. I was actually at the grocery store today, and I was buying a pack of beer, so they had to check my ID. And the guy was like, oh my gosh, your birthday is the same day as my parents' wedding anniversary, and it's coming up soon. Happy early birthday. And I'm like, first of all, really sweet that you know your parents' wedding anniversary. Second of all, oh my God, you're right, my birthday's in a couple days. It's kind of crazy. But I'm so, so excited for this. I just recently read and loved Part of Your World, which Hannah also loves. And she was like, you're gonna love this. Here you go, my Virgo queen. And I was like, thank you. You are my Virgo queen, because Hannah is also a Virgo. And I'm just so, so excited for this. And also, what a pro to have cleared out your TBR and to only have 3, 4, where's the other one? I have another book somewhere. Oh, I think it's in a bag because I was going to take it to the beach. I have 4 books on my physical TBR at this moment, now 5. So like, I know I'm going to read it really, really soon too, which is great. I'm never going to stop talking about that. It makes me so happy. And Hannah was a big inspiration for getting me to get my physical TBR down, because she also has been able to manage to do the same thing. So anyways, I'm very excited for this. I'm going to be reading it very soon. Thank you so much. For a reading update, while I'm here, I was reading What Lies in the Woods earlier today, and I got to page 46, so I'm still not super far in it, and I actually stopped mid-chapter. I didn't even finish the chapter. I'm just not loving it like I thought I might, and it's really the writing style that I'm not loving. I'm gonna keep reading it. I'm not gonna DNF it because it's not like I have that many other books to read anyway, so I might as well push through. But yeah, the writing style is a little bit like small, like it almost reads like detective novels read. You know how a lot of detective novels are like in a small town and they're super morose and kind of has like a noir style to it. That's how the writing style is for this, but you're not following a detective, you're just following a regular woman. But she is now connecting back with her friends, and they're starting to talk about potentially stirring up some drama by talking about what really happened all those years ago. So, you know, I'm not too far in. I didn't expect much to be happening at this point, but I don't know, I'm still just kind of like struggling to get into it. I might try out the audiobook a bit as well, see if I like it in that way, if I prefer to listen to it. But so far, not loving it, not hating it. It's just not really captured my attention yet. 46 pages in, which is not a good sign, but it's getting great reviews though, so I'll keep giving it a try. Hello, I have no idea when the last time is that we talked or what I told you about, because this is taking me longer to read than usual and I can't remember where I last updated you. But I finally am making progress in the book. I made it to page 184, so I'm over halfway through and I'm finally catching my stride with the story. I feel like it just took me so long to get into this one. I don't know if it was because of the writing style or just the pacing not being as fast as I was expecting, but it was just a little bit of a struggle for me to get into. But finally, after like page 100, I feel like the narrative started to pull itself together for me. I was actually wanting to flip the pages. I stayed up a little late reading, and I'm finally getting into the story. The synopsis does not disclose a big event that happens that kind of kicks off the story. I feel like they could have said that in the synopsis, and I think that's what it is, the pacing. Like, I wish they would have said in the synopsis what happens, and I wish that would have happened sooner in the story rather than taking 100 pages to get there. But I won't reveal anything too in-depth for you. Still the same story concept of these women coming together after this traumatizing event from their childhood and trying to solve what really happened all those years ago in the woods. There's really not a ton else happening in it. It is very slow paced. It is very much a like small town mystery kind of feel. It's reminding me a lot of A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham, and I Have Some Questions for You by Rebecca Makkai. If you read I Have Some Questions for You by Rebecca Makkai and you wanted something that was darker and more of a mystery than a literary fiction story, I would recommend checking out this one, because it does really feel very similar tonally as well to I Have Some Questions for You, where it's filled with a lot of like regret around the past and just a really somber tone throughout the story. I'm definitely getting more invested in the mystery of finding out what happened. We have enough characters to wonder about that there could be several different things going on, so I don't feel like it's as clear cut as I was worried it would be. I just thought I was going to jump into this book and immediately know what happened, and I still think it's going to have to go that way, but I don't know how it's going to get there. So that's what's been keeping me intrigued, is to see how it all plays out, and if it does take the direction that I think it's going to take and pull a plot twist on us, we will see. But now that I'm finally catching steam in it, I think I'm gonna be able to finish it tonight. So hopefully the rest of the book will go much faster, and then I can let you know my final opinion on the book. Finish What Lies in the Woods last night, as I thought I would, and oh boy, I have feelings about it. I am toggling back and forth between my rating. I feel like I'm a little bit biased because I've heard so many good reviews of this. I feel like I'm leaning on a more positive review because I know so many people liked this that I'm like, oh yeah, it must be good if so many people liked it, but I didn't. And so I'm struggling with my rating because my first inclination is to give it a 3 because I was intrigued the whole time. I kept reading. I did want to know what happened, but I didn't like the writing style. I didn't really love the tone of the story. There are a lot of things that happen in the plot that I did not like, or choices of the main characters that I did not understand. Not that I care if I agree or disagree with the main characters' choices, but like it didn't feel right for them to be making the choices just based on what you know about the character. Like I have a lot of things that just did not work for me in this story, but a 2, I don't know. Giving it a 2, I just feel like I can't do for some reason. I don't know. Between a 2 or a 3. What are ratings anyway? They don't really matter that much. I mean, they do to authors and adding ratings and whatnot, but giving it a rating at all is doing a good service to an author. Whether it's a 2-star or a 3-star is more about you understanding if they like the book or not, and me explaining my feelings is gonna be more valuable than just a number anyways. So let's talk about it. I really don't understand the huge appeal of this one. I'm kind of surprised that I'm hearing so many positive reviews for it. I have a couple videos I want to watch on it because this was a book club pick for my friend Sab's reading club, book club, the Lights Out book club. Riveting Reads is her channel. Maybe that's why I was saying that. She did this as a book club discussion with my other friend Gwen very recently, and so I put that in my watch later. I want to watch their book club discussion, and then Gabby, I think was the other one who also did a book club discussion of this. I don't remember who the co-hosts were, but they are in my watch later. I will be watching some book club discussions of this because I do want to understand why it's so popular, because I really do think this is going to be a Goodreads Choice Awards nominee. I would not be surprised if it makes it in the top 10. And I am someone who likes to understand the genre. I just nerd out over that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna be curious to hear more reviews of this one. But for me, this didn't feel unique. It didn't feel like it brought anything super new, and it didn't feel like it was leveraging any tropes or popular trends right now to make it stand out in the genre. All in all, this is a small town mystery where in this small town, stuff happened in the past. It's a small town. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone's got secrets. Everyone's in each other's business. And this woman is coming back to the town and trying to piece it all together. That's been done many, 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 many times. And not to say there's anything wrong with that, but I don't know what this book offers that would make it stand out in that genre, honestly. And this is Kate Alice Marshall's adult thriller debut. She has written young adult, middle grade, thriller, and horror books. This is her first adult thriller. And as a first adult thriller, I think it's good. Like, it's fine. Like, you did a good job putting together a adult thriller book, but it kind of like feels like your first adult thriller book. You know, thrillers are hard to craft. This is a mystery, really. And I think it did a good, okay job. There's a lot of characters in here. I didn't know exactly how it was going to play out. I was looking at people suspiciously, trying to piece it together. Some things came together a little less surprisingly than others, but like all in all, it was fine. It was okay. Basically what I've done is proven my instincts, because my instinct was that I thought this book would be what it was. and I didn't think it was gonna stand out for me, and I didn't think I would find anything special in it if I took time to read it when it came out. So I guess I'm fine with the fact that I delayed reading it. Yeah, I don't know. I've already talked about books that this reminds me of. Like, it really does feel like a Stacey Willingham kind of book, or I don't know, like any small town mystery where someone's coming back to their small town, uncovering small town secrets. So yeah, ultimately it just didn't really come together. I do want to talk into spoilers of really quickly just some specific things that I didn't love about how the ending played out, because they are spoilery and I just want to share that. So I'm going to do that. Spoiler banner will be on screen. You can skip this if you do not want spoilers. I really dislike the trope or the plot device of our main character in a mystery thriller having a memory loss issue where they don't remember something, and the whole book goes on and the reveal that finally comes is just based on them finally remembering something versus uncovering a specific piece of information or coercing information out of someone. Like, it just comes from this miraculous moment of memory recovery. I understand this is a real thing. Our main character in this story, deeply traumatized, was attacked in the woods. I totally understand trauma can make you lose your memories and that you can repress things, especially in your childhood, regarding traumatic events. And I also know that it is a very real thing to have moments of memory recovery, especially when you are revisiting the scene of the crime, or you know, something relating to the environment can trigger a memory for you again. I understand that's a really real thing. I don't love that being used for a mystery or thriller narrative, because it's just not the best device in my opinion. I don't know. I just don't love it because I don't know, like, she could have recovered her memory at the 25% mark, at the 50% mark, at the 75% mark, at the 100% mark. Like, the only thing the story hinged on was her finally remembering that it was really her friends who attacked her, which also I knew that's where it was going because of the whole Slender Man case. I'm really familiar with that, and this very much seemed reminiscent of that. It did distract you a lot throughout the story to make you think all these other men could have been responsible for it, which was another issue I had. There's just like a million men and they are all suspicious, which is like, come on. But I knew it had to be taking the direction of it being her friends who stabbed her, and she just couldn't remember that. And then eventually she's just out in the woods and does remember it, and then boom, the whole mystery is solved. Instead of her, like, I thought when she was looking at her friend's box of trinkets and things that she would find something super incriminating there that would be a piece of information that would move her forward, and that would like kind of start to solve things for her. Maybe she would confront her friend and then the truth would finally spill out, but it wasn't. It was just like miraculous memory recovery. Again, understand it's a real thing. Don't think it was the best plot device. Additionally, when she does discover that and rehashes this memory, all of her actions from that point forward didn't make a ton of sense to me. Like, she kind of just moved on and then was, I don't even remember what she did immediately after, but then she ended up with that guy Cody, and then they're out in the woods and all these things happen. Like, so much happens before she is shocked or in denial or mad. You would have an immediate emotional reaction to remembering that your best friend was actually the one who stabbed you 17 times instead of a serial killer that you put in jail. So I just thought her lack of reaction was very strange in the way that the ending played out in the story. Also the way like Cassidy's character changed. I don't know, didn't love that. And the biggest thing that I just couldn't understand throughout this whole book is how our main character just kept going back into the woods where she was attacked with no problem. Like, she just kept going back and back. She was stabbed 17 times, almost died at this very spot in the woods. And throughout the whole story, she goes back to that place in the woods so many times and doesn't really seem to exhibit signs of like PTSD or resistance to be out there, like nothing. She's just like going back out into the woods and thinking about things and wants to go find things. Even goes out there, finds her friend dead when Liv ends up dead. And that doesn't like cause any new issues for her. She's still going back out to the woods after that. That just seemed really strange to me, because I can imagine if I was attacked somewhere, I would be so deeply traumatized and not ever want to return to that place again, especially if it's just like a random place in the woods that you don't have to return to, you know? It's not like it's your home where you have to return to because you can't move to another house, or your work that you can't get out of a job or something. I don't know. It's just the woods. Like, you don't have to go out there. And she just kept voluntarily going out there without resistance, which seemed very, very strange to me. So that's just a lot of nitpicky stuff that stuck out to me in reasons that I couldn't get fully engaged in the book and reasons that pulled my rating down. So that is it for What Lies in the Woods. Those are my final thoughts. I think it'll be a book that is better for beginners in the genre, but a lot of people who aren't beginners have been loving it too, so I don't know. Personally, this one just didn't really work super strongly for me. I'm somewhere between a 2 to 3 star. I'm gonna simmer on it. We'll see where I end up landing. And that is it for this book. For my final book of the vlog, I had a couple remaining books that I was considering squeezing into this third position just because I like to do 3 books in a vlog. I wasn't sure exactly which one to pick, so I asked my Instagram followers in a poll, and this is the book they chose, Looking Glass Sound by Katrina Ward, which I'm very excited to read, and that is my members book club pick for the month, so I have to read it anyway. So that is the book that I'm going to be picking up next. I'm going to get started on it and then give you my first impressions. Okay, updates on Looking Glass Sound. I had to come inside because it was hot, but I started Looking Glass Sound. I got 52, 53 pages in, which is the first section of the book. I have absolutely no freaking clue what is about to go on in this book. I have no memory of the synopsis at all. Like, I can't even think of ever hearing anything about this book and remembering any single thing about what this is going to be about. It has completely escaped my mind, and it really just throws you into a story, and I have no direction of understanding or where it will be going, and I kind of love it because so far I have read 2 books from Katrina Ward. I read The Last House on Needless Street and Sundial, which was like a 3.5 and a 5, maybe 4 and a 5. I really liked those, so I feel like I'm gonna really like this. I'm loving the writing style so far. The first section, you're just following some 16-year-olds at the beach for the summer, living their life together, and that's it. And then I just got to 50 something pages in, and now the perspective is shifting, and I don't know what's happening, but I am here for it. Okay, I've read a lot more of Looking Glass Sound. It is the next day or two from when you last heard from me. I'm about midway through the book now, 144 pages in, and I'm excited to tell you about it because I'm really enjoying it. I'm also a little bit sick right now, which I feel like keeps happening to me. I've kind of been ping-ponging the sickness back and forth between my partner and me. I was a little bit sick, and then he got really sick, and now he's gotten me a little sick again, and I don't know, it just will not go away, but very congested if you hear that. But Looking Glass Sound, I am loving it. Not a lot is happening, and I don't know where it's going to go, but I just love the writing style, and I'm just so captivated in the story. I'm still refusing to read the synopsis because I just want to be surprised with where this book's taking me, because I just love the way the story is unfolding. You're essentially just following this main character, Wilder, from his teenage years so far through to the college years, and it's from the perspective of a memoir that he wrote. So you're reading like his own retelling of his story, and you read about this first summer he spends at this beach area, the next summer he spends there, and then he ends up going off to college, and there's different people coming in and out of his life, and there's this big traumatic thing that happens to him, and he has these like secrets he's keeping from you, and he's just meeting new people and starting to have different mental health issues that he's trying to deal with, and I just don't know where it's going to go, but it's really alluring as a story. I just really love Katrina Ward's writing style. I really don't know how to describe it other than the fact that it is just like hypnotizing. Like, it really pulls you in, and it feels so absurd but normal. It's like everything that's happening is pretty normal. There's some dark things that are happening that like don't happen in my everyday life, but like there's nothing surreal happening totally, but it has a surreal feel to it. It's like real with a little bit of surrealness. Preternatural maybe? I don't know. It just has such an interesting tone, and it pulls you into the story, and the more I look at this cover, the more obsessed I am with it. This might be my favorite cover of the year. I feel like it's really simple, but I just love the colors. I love the texture. I love the font and the contrasting colors of the font. I'm really liking this. And then there's also just like mystery around it because you don't know where it's going, and then there's different pieces of the story. Like, you got this moment of someone else's perspective, which I did figure out who it was, and then you get these other clips that are like strange little moments. I'll see if I can find the first one to show. They're just these page-long segments that are, the chapter heading is brackets, and then it's just words on a page. And it has significance, but at first you have no idea what it is, and then you start to figure out what it is, but you don't know still what it is. Is this like notes that the guy is taking? Is it someone else's perspective? What is it? I don't know, but I love it. I really, really like it, and it's kind of reminding me of Paul Tremblay's writing style, who I also really love, especially reminding me of the Pallbearers Club. It has a very similar tone, feel to the Pallbearers Club, because this is about these two people who are friends throughout many years of their lives. They go like in and out of each other's lives, and it's very, very normal and not a lot's happening, but there's this like sense of weirdness going on where one character thinks he's living in a horror story and the other one's like, no, you're not. And you're like, who do I believe? Is there a supernatural creature in this? Like, you don't really know exactly. And I really liked this book. So this one I'm really liking as well. And I'm very, very excited to see where it goes. I also think, at least so far, midway through, I feel like this is gonna be a really fun book club discussion, because it'll be fun just to see what everyone's theories are or what they thought was going on. I hope other people are liking this. I feel like this is gonna be a hit or miss because of the style of it being so weird and like nothing's happening but things are happening. I don't know. This is just like exactly my type of book. I'm having a really good time with it, and I really just want to like savor it but also fly through it at the same time, which is the most contradicting feeling when you're reading a book that you really enjoy. But I needed a good win for this month because I have not had like a lot of standout books this month. I think I've had 1 5-star, but it's been a lot of like DNFs and moving on from books quickly, and this is just really what I needed for the end of the month. I just finished Looking Glass Sound, and I don't have the level of energy that I need to express the passion that I have for this book because I am still sick, but I loved this book. 5 stars. Loved it. It was amazing. It was everything I wanted. It's so cool. It is so cool. It's so weird. It's so confusing. It's so layered. It's so complex. It is so rereadable. I feel like I could reread this right now. I'm already going to be like flipping back to certain sections to reread different sections again to piece the story fully together. I don't know what Katrina Ward's doing. I don't know what she's on. I want some of it. Whatever magic she has harnessed in her writing ability, I am so jealous of. I just don't know how she does it. It's so cool. The stories that she writes, like, where is she getting these ideas? How is she keeping track of this? How is she turning this into something that is both absurdly bizarre but accessible but confusing enough that it feels like a nightmare? I don't know. I mean, it is just, it's really something special to read a Katrina Ward book. I will also say the whole time I was reading this, I had to keep reminding myself that it was Katrina Ward because I kept thinking it was Mona Awad, because it feels so much like a Mona Awad story too, especially once you like grasp what's going on and the themes in the story. Wow. I mean, this was very impressive. I really enjoyed this. I think a lot of people won't because it's not your average story. It's very confusing. It's a book that's about things, you know. It's not a book where so much happens, although a lot does happen. It's not a book that's like a very basic plot. It's a book that is about a thing, and just the existence of the book in itself is so cool. I think this was really cool. And I don't have a lot of lovely, eloquent ways to explain it, but I'm gonna be thinking about this book for a long time. It was really cool. And I'm very excited to now go diving into reviews, because I've been avoiding reviews of this one so that I didn't get biased, and now I just want to read everything that everyone thought about this book. I cannot wait to discuss this in my book club. It was just such a good time. So that puts a wrap on this reading vlog. What a journey it has been. Looking back at all of the books that I read, some of them I was more uncertain on. It took me a minute to like simmer to my ratings, but Camp Damascus, I feel good in calling that a 3-star. I thought it was a good time. I think people are going to enjoy it. It just wasn't a standout hit for me. What Lies in the Woods, I feel like I've simmered on this one being a 2, and I feel like it really settles down to a 2 after reading a very clear 5. I look back on this and I'm like, yeah, that was a 2-star for me. But a lot of people are enjoying this one. It's been really popular this year, and so if you're just looking for a solid mystery to check out this year that people seem to be enjoying, it's got a really high average rating. A lot of people have read it, and don't let me dissuade you from interest in it. It just didn't stand out to me in particular. And then What a beautiful way to end this vlog. I so badly was hoping this would be a 5-star. When I picked it as my book club pick, I was hoping it'd be a 5-star, just so I could have a 5-star around my birthday. And what a great birthday gift it was. Actually, today's my birthday, and I finished this book today. So really, a wonderful birthday gift. Let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of these books and what you think about them, or let me know if I've convinced you to pick any of them up. And hopefully the next time you hear from me, I will no longer be sick. That would be really nice. But that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.